Welcome to YOUCANIC. Today here on YOUCANIC we have a 2016 Mazda CX-5. On this Mazda CX-5 we are going to be removing the window regulator this time. So to start with, there would be a little cover right here. There's one Phillips screw down here to remove. And then right up here we have a little cover that's inside here. Use a small screwdriver, pick tool to pop that out, and then we can undo the screw that is holding for the interior door latch. And that is just also another Phillips screw. With those two screws removed, should be able to just go around and pop all the push pins and clips that are holding this door panel on. I'm feeling down here because a lot of times there's an indent, not an indent on this one. We got this little piece up here, cover piece. We're going to pop that off. Okay, so should be everything undone from this point. Then we're going to just have to lift it up. And we're going to lift it up, and behind here will be some electrics that we'll need to remove. We just pop the whole door handle off, and then squeeze the connectors. So we have just these two electric connectors that go into the door handle, the master switch for your windows, and then this, we can just pop the whole handle off. So that's how you would remove your door panel. So first we've removed the interior door panel, and now we have access to be able to remove the glass. Now, indicator here, so the glass, if you measure from the weather stripping up, so the weather stripping up, anywhere between 3.5 to 4.5 inches or so. If you leave your window right there before you take off the electrics and the door panel, it'll be right in line for you when you pop these two covers to undo the two bolts to hold the glass in and to be able to remove that. So we'll pop these two covers off. And then we have two number 10 bolts in there. These you remove completely. And now we'll be able to pull the glass out. So upon pulling the glass out, we're just going to pull it up, tilt it to the front, and then we'll be able to pull this piece out. So that's how you would remove the glass. So we've removed the inner door panel and we've removed the glass, and now we can go through the process to remove the window regulator. The window regulator is bolted right here, these three bolts, onto this plastic inner cover. So we will remove the bolts that hold the inner cover off, undo some electric connectors here on this side, and then we will be able to fully undo these connections from the back side by pressing the clips together once we undo all the bolts that go around, and we'll be able to pull it and get them off from the back side better. So to start with, we'll undo the electric connectors, just squeeze and pull. There's this sensor connector here. We have this connector here. That one can stay on for the moment. That one you have to pull the tab back, then you can squeeze the black tab and pull it down. And this is the connector that goes to there. the regulator itself. We'll undo this one to the speaker. We've got all those undone. We have one push pin right here. Undo and pull that out. Now we can go around and remove all the bolts. Okay, so we have 9 number 10 screws / bolts to remove. Now with those removed, work our way around. There is a type of gasket that's sticking this in there. There's one more bolt up here, right up here in between there, that is part of the window regulator function. So we need to remove that to be able to pull this down. And we'll be able to pull the whole window regulator out. Since we want to remove all the connectors that are holding the electrics on, I'm going to do that from this side just by squeezing the connectors together. Alright, that should be all the electric connectors. Now, be able to, oh, missed that one. We've got this one. It's hiding up under here. And then we have the one connector for the window regulator itself, or the motor. And that has a push tab. It's hidden on the back, so just need to depress it. And be able to pull that undone, and we have removed the whole component that holds our window regulator. You don't really have to take all that off. It just might make it a little bit easier for while you're working on the window regulator to replace the window regulator. So the window regulator is held onto the plastic interior door panel. You have the exterior door panel, then you have an interior door panel, and it's held onto here with these 3 bolts, as well as the 3 bolts here that mount for the motor. You can either replace just the motor if you've deemed that it's just the motor issue. There are gears inside here that can wear out, or the most common thing that wears out is these plastic connectors up at the top and the bottom on the back side here. Is that these will wear out and break, and then the cable will go, and then like if your window drops all the way down and you can't get it to go back up, that's because either this component or this component has worn out, or maybe even these tabs are broken here. Right, so we'll go over how you would replace this. So you'll need to remove the 3 bolts that hold the motor on there, and then remove these 3 bolts and pop that off. So this is our motor and component. When we take it apart, if we're replacing just the actual regulator component itself, we're going to inspect to see that these teeth are in good and clean shape, and also the ones that are located on the unit itself. If they're looking in good shape, then we're good there, and we'll just know that we're more concerned about this unit here. So we'll remove the 3 nuts that hold that handle on there. Okay, so with the 3 nuts removed, we'll be able to pull this out. Now, we want to, when we're installing and taking out, we want to do our best not to have this pop out, otherwise you have to re-spool it, and it can be a bit of an issue. So snap that off there gently. Do the same with this side, and this we can set aside, because this is the unit, when we're buying a new one, this is the unit that we are replacing, is this unit here. And like I said, when you're installing the new one, you'll want to do your best not to have this pop out, otherwise you will have to re-spool it, and it can be, it's not very fun to do. So that is it removed, and then when you get a new one, you would put it on in the reverse order. By lining the 3 screws up over there. Now let's start one of the nuts on there. So started the nut on the top, in the back there. Got that one, and then line up the. There are some tabs, and so you've got to rotate this a little bit. Get it pressed in, and then you twist it down, and that locks it into place, right? And so then you'll mount the motor by lining up the bolts. And installing those. And then we've tightened all the 6 bolts, the 3 bolts for the motor, 3 bolts that are holding on the window regulator unit itself, and now we will be ready to reinstall this on the door and put our glass back in for replacement of our window regulator. We have our inner plastic cover here that also holds the window regulator on, and so we'll go ahead and put this in. So we have a bunch of where electric will run through and just push through all the clips, so that's pretty simple there. But we need to put this up in. We have this that needs to come up here where there's a bolt that'll line up in there, and then being able to line those up, there's a little tab at the bottom. We have the 1 push clip here that we can put in to hold the place mark, and that's going to hold it sitting in there. And now we'll go around and install the 9 screws, and we have the 9 coarse screws that we install, and this one is a fine thread that goes into the top of the window regulator and bolts to the metal of the door. Alright, so we've got that installed. Just make sure to tighten this top one. All our components are installed and tightened up. Now we'll want to run our electric connectors back in, hook them all. Alright, we've put all those electric connectors in. Don't forget to connect your speaker up if you want to have the sounds going on. And now we are going to install the window and go through that process. First, you're going to take your window, you're going to take it from the outside, and then be able to line it up with a slight angle to the front side down, and then be able to line it up in the channels between the weather stripping. And then we slide it down until we get the bolts to line up in here. Are the two bolts to go in there. They're the only So now we'll just tighten those up. Just decently snug, you don't need to go crazy tight on those. And then be able to take your cover and snap that back into place. And so that's how you would install your glass window in your door there. Now we are able to put this back on. So to start with, we're going to hold our door panel up here. We have these two electric connectors to hook up to the window door switch. Got that hooked up. Then you'll need to run the handle switch and lock that into place. And now you'll take your door weather stripping So what you want to do is you want to take the door up on an angle, pressing the top in to get the weather stripping to go behind the metal there. You get that to sit down in the channel. Then we can work our way around by snapping all the pins that hold the door panel onto the door itself. Two Phillips screws to install. And then one down here. And with that installed, we're good there. And then we will put our cover back on here. Line that up, snap it in. We have a cover for up top here. Lock that into place. And that's how you would install your inner door panel on your Mazda CX-5. Thanks for watching YOUCANIC, where you can do the